The Senate Committee on Government Affairs will come to order. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Daly. Here. Senator Ellison. Present. Senator Kramer. I'm sorry, Krasner. Senator Neal. Senator Orenshaw.
Present.
Present. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Please let the record reflect 6 members are present. We do have a quorum. Madam Secretary, please mark Senator Neal as absent excused. Good afternoon, everyone, to the Government Affairs Committee. As always, I appreciate all of you being here. Reminder, if you haven't had a chance to do so, please make sure you sign in at the door. For those of you who will be testifying today, please make sure you provide our secretary with your business card and or a way for them to contact you should we need to reach out, back out at a later time for minute purposes. I want to remind everybody we're going to be asking you questions that are going to be presenting. Please make sure you state your name for the record after each question. On the agenda, we have Senate Bill 71 and Senate Bill 210. At the request of the bill sponsor, Senate Bill 210 will be removed from the agenda for today to be discussed and heard on a later date as they still are hashing out some issues. With that, the agenda for today will be Senate Bill 71. We will have a BDR introduction along with a public comment. And with that, I would like to just remind you that we're all working off of our laptops. Please don't take it as some disrespect if you see us doing a bunch of things up here on the dais. With that, I'd like to open up the hearing on Senate Bill 71. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Gabriela Wyatt, for the record. Good afternoon, distinguished members of the Senate. My name is Gabriela Wyatt, Chair of the Nevada Commission on Minority Affairs. On behalf of the Nevada Commission on Minority Affairs, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of SB 71. This bill reinforces Nevada's commitment to economic empowerment, business growth, and self-sufficiency. Nevada thrives because its hardworking entrepreneurs, small business owners, and innovators are the backbone of our economy. Ours is a state forged by independence, strengthened by resilience, and propelled forward by the pioneering spirit of those who proudly call this place home. Our strength has come from within, and SB 71 reinforces that foundation, ensuring our resilience, innovation, and economic vitality continue to flourish for generations to come. Why does SB 71 matter? This bill is not just legislation, but it is a bold commitment to our people, businesses, and the prosperity of future generations. It embodies our shared visions for progress, resilience, and opportunity. SB 71 will create a Learn to Do Business with the State training program, helping local businesses, especially small and first-time bidders, understand the procurement process, improving their ability to compete. Encourage collaboration among counties and procurement offices so that small businesses across urban and rural Nevada have access to these opportunities. The real-world impact, why this matters for Nevada's future. This isn't just about businesses. It's about the entire Nevada economy. When we invest in local businesses, we create. Champion Nevada businesses prioritizing state and local contracts for companies operating in Nevada and keeping revenue in our communities. Investing in workforce development. This will enhance education, vocational training, and job opportunities to empower Nevadans in our evolving economy. This will also ensure economic independence, streamlining procurement processes to help local businesses compete and thrive. Promote innovative and growth, supporting industries aligned with Nevada's strengths while persevering our entrepreneurial spirit. How does SB 71 work? SB 71 streamlines and strengthens procurement by consolidating 2 commissions that currently exist, creating a more efficient system for public entities in Clark and Washoe counties and state agencies to administer contracts and report spending. By enhancing transparency and simplifying processes, this bill empowers Nevada businesses to navigate public procurement opportunities more effectively, fostering greater participation and economic growth, resulting in a stronger Nevada built by us. With SB 71, we reaffirm our commitment to keeping Nevada businesses at the forefront of economic growth. We stand ready to build, to support, and protect our local economy, ensuring that the opportunity remains within reach for all who call Nevada home. I want to take this opportunity to thank the chair and members of the committee and I stand ready to answer any questions. And I do have a couple of subject matter experts on the line to assist with those questions. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. This time we'll open up for questions, members, and we'll start off with Senator Rogich, please.
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming, and thank you for this bill. I just have a quick question with regard to what measurements will be put in place to ensure that the purchasing information online that's provided is comprehensive and up to date.
If I may request a lifeline, if that's what it's called. I believe we have Jim Haining on the phone. He had called in.
If I could just have you state your name for the
Oh,
record.
excuse me, Gabriela White for the record.
And you said they are joining us over the phone?
Over the phone, yes.
Okay. I don't know that,
Or virtually, I believe.
I don't know that we have anybody else virtually, is that correct? So and are they in Las Vegas?
They are in Las Vegas, yes.
Okay, but they're not in the committee room?
They're not in the committee
Okay.
room, no.
So what I'm gonna do is, rather than have that question answered now, we'll wait for, and I'm sorry, who is it that's gonna be joining us over the phone?
Jim Haining.
Jim Hank?
Yeah.
During the neutral testimony of the hearing, we'll allow him to please call in, and then we'll ask some questions there. And then any other question you may have, Senator, that we could address now.
No, that's it. I just wanted to make sure there were measurements in place that would make sure that the information posted online is up to date and comprehensive, so folks.
And Senator, I think your microphone's off.
I was saying, I just would like to see if there are measurements in place to make sure that the information that's going to be posted online is comprehensive and up to date so that folks can have accurate information.
Gabriela White for the record. I do believe that we have addressed all those measurements without any fiscal note attached to it. Unfortunately, I came in at the tail end of trying to get this bill presented. Fortunately, Commissioner Romero, who will also be testifying, is having a baby. So, so she wasn't able to be here and present, and has very detailed information and would be able to address those questions, and she is online as well. You're welcome, thank you.
Then we'll go to our Vice Chair, Orenshaw, please.
Thank you very much. One question I have, the deleted language, section 15 of the bill states that, and then the repealed sections 11 to 20 inclusive of the Regional Business Development Advisory Council for Clark County Act are hereby repealed. I guess my question has to do with, what's the rationale in deleting the Regional Business Development Advisory Council of Clark County, or deleting those sections rather than trying to maybe shore those up, with versus creating the new Nevada Diverse Business Advisory Council. I just wonder why maybe not try to, shore up the existing Regional Business Development Advisory Council. What's the rationale there?
I appreciate that answer, Senator. The rationale behind that is really on the basis of SB 78 with the cleanup measurement of the different commissions, boards, and councils, I believe. And so we were advised that we cannot create an additional one, so we decided to streamline it and really just have one. And so with the subject matter experts that we spoke to, we were advised to remove RDAC, I believe it is, and then create the one council in Northern Nevada. I hope that answers your question. Excuse me, Gabriela White for the record.
Thank you. Then just a brief follow-up, Mr. Chair.
Please.
Thank you. So then the Nevada Diverse Business Advisory Council, is that limited to Northern Nevada, or is that a statewide council?
It will we would like it to be statewide. Gabriela White for the record.
Thank you. And would Chair indulge me in another follow-up?
Please.
Then, thank you. Now, Senate Bill 78, I don't think we've heard that one yet. Does that also reference either the new Nevada Diverse Business Advisory Council or the RBDAC?
Gabriela White for the record, I do not know that. But what I do know is it is trying to, I don't want to say minimize, but I think it's just a cleanup bill of, and again, I'm not a subject matter expert on it, but I do know that they're trying to cut down on some of the commission councils.
Thank you, and appreciate your answer. Chair, if you'll indulge me just a couple more questions. Thank you. On page 3, section 7, diverse person means a person who is a member of a racial or ethnic minority, female or a veteran, or has a physical disability, or identifies as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or intersex, or any other non-heterosexual or non-cisgender orientation or gender identity or expression. I'm just wondering, someone who's Native American, would they be considered diverse under this definition or no?
Gabriela White, for the record, yes, they are.
They are, okay.
Per statute, correct.
Oh,
yes.
per statute, okay, thank you. And then I wanted to turn to section 11, sub 6, on page 6. My question here at sub E, the amount and percentage of purchasing expenditures paid by public entities to businesses that do not have a physical location and employees within this state. I just wonder, what is the purpose of that metric? And how much, business do you envision being done with out-of-state entities? Speak to that.
Gabriela White, for the record, I do not have data on that, but I could get back to you with some information.
I'd sure appreciate that.
Yes, and you,
Thank you.
excuse me.
I think for now, I'm good. I'm kind of
And
still
Senator,
looking through.
Quickly, you said section 11, sub 6?
Sub 6, sub E, the amount and percentage of purchasing expenditures paid by the public entity to businesses that do not have a physical location and employees within this state. I'm just wondering, what's the intent behind that metric? How much business with out-of-state entities do you think is being done or planned to be done with out-of-state entities that don't have a physical location in this state? That's the concern I've got there. But thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
I appreciate the questions.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Senator Daly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And some of my questions may actually be for the purchasing guy and the technical part of some of these provisions. Because I think what are some of the policies or programs that you've recommended in the past, and that's from the old board, where you're saying you're trying to make these opportunities open. Aren't there already sections in the law that provide for most of this stuff, both in 333 and 332? Disabilities, or isn't a lot of this duplicative and already in the purchasing statutes?
Thank you so much for that question, Senator. Gabriela White, for the record. Right now, this currently exists only in Southern Nevada, so we're trying to implement it throughout the state.
Exactly my question. In the law, 333, NRS 333 and NRS 332, which are the purchasing laws for state government, local governments, those statutes already exist that provide these incentives and advantages and scoring deal to try to encourage small businesses. So all that exists statewide, not just in Southern or Nevada. But so maybe the technical part on the other questions on what has been the product, the work product of the existing commission that you're expecting now to put statewide? Because I've talked to some of the people in Washoe County and we're kind of going, not really seeing a use or need for it. You guys want to keep it in Clark County? I'm not going to cry about that, but I'm just not seeing where this is going to be useful to some overlaps with all the stuff we're already doing.
I appreciate that question, Senator, and I can get back some information, some hard data regarding those questions from the subject matter expert, if that helps.
Is the person on the phone going to have some of those answers?
They will have those answers, yes. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, remind me of who the subject matter expert that's going to be joining us a little bit later in neutral?
He's currently serves on the council of RDAC.
Perfect, and his name?
Jim Haining.
Perfect, Jim. And
Let me
just
spell his last name. I might not be pronouncing it correctly, but it's Haining.
understood. And I'm hoping he's listening now so that he knows kind of the questions that are coming preemptively.
Correct.
Hopefully that helps. Members, any additional questions? With the understanding that we're going to have an opportunity to vet it a little bit deeper once we get into the neutral testimony. I think for now, we'll ask if you could sit back in the gallery. We're going to invite those wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 71 to come forward, either in Carson City or Las Vegas. Seeing, well, I think I see somebody in Las Vegas. Hi, if you're joining us in Las Vegas in support of Senate Bill 71, whenever you're ready.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Ganesh Kadam. I'm a small business owner and my company work on to the government contracts. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to support of SB 71, a bill that will create greater transparency, accountability, and opportunity for small businesses like mine in the government contracting process. As a small business owner, I have first-hand experience navigating the complex and often opaque procurement system. Too often, small businesses, especially those without extensive resources or insider connections, struggle to find information about available contracts. The process can feel discouraging and inaccessible even though we have the skills, qualification, and dedication to serve our state. SB 71 is a step in the right direction by requiring public agencies to publish procurement details online. This bill will level the playing field, ensuring that small businesses can easily access contracting opportunities. Additionally, the new reporting requirements will help us track how state funds are spent and ensure that local small businesses are not overlooked. State contracts should prioritize Nevada businesses because we reinvest in our communities. We hire locally, pay local taxes, and contribute to the growth of Nevada's economy. SB 71 fosters a more collaborative process, bringing procurement officials and small businesses together to make our tax dollars stay in our state and support the businesses that help Nevada thrive. This bill is not just about policy, it's about empowering hardworking small businesses with tools and information they need to compete fairly. I urge you to support SB 71 and help create a more inclusive, transparent, and fair procurement system for all Nevada businesses. And also, there was a question regarding NRS 333, 334, and 338. Those are the procurement for the government agencies within the state of Nevada. And there are no regulations in those NRS for the small businesses. So small businesses are always competing with the large businesses. So we need to make these changes so like small businesses get a fair ground. So again, thank you. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Sir, we do have a question for you. Thank you
Yeah.
for joining us. Senator Krasner, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, sir, for your testimony. I was just wondering if you could tell me, what about the system, the way that it's done now, stops or inhibits small businesses from being able to participate?
It means we can participate in the procurement system, but the thing is like as a small business, when I'm competing on the government contracts.
And sir,
I'm
I apologize
competing-
to interrupt you. If I could just have you state your name for the record.
Oh, sorry, Ganesh Kadam. And so for small businesses in current system, when we are competing, submitting any proposals or any bids onto the contract, and we are competing with the large businesses. So we don't get a fair field there to participate. Like we are competing, small businesses doesn't have that many resources to compete with the large businesses. So that's the kind of hindrance there.
And do you think if this bill is passed, it will help small businesses to be able
Yes,
to
yes.
compete?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So we'll be able to see more opportunities and we can see at least the data and all that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Ellison, sorry about that. We have one more question for you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Senator Ellison, please.
Yeah,
you want to tell me what kind of business you're in? Are you like a janitorial or government provider? What kind of work are you in?
So we are a civil engineering consultant. Civil engineering consultant.
What?
Civil engineer consultant.
So you're licensed just like any other civil engineer in the state of Nevada?
Yes, and we work on to the public works project.
Okay, I just don't understand, because when they open up these contracts, there's never anything about discrimination whatsoever. It's based on your years of ability and how much time you've got. And they usually start off on small projects, and then they raise them to big ones. And we used to do big contracts, and we quit. We only do small stuff, and we don't even do contracts anymore. We just do service. So I'm trying to put my head around this for this bill, because I don't see this in the rural areas anywhere. So when they put out a BLM project or whatever, or like the city's doing a small project or whatever, what is your license? How much are you licensed for or bonded?
So we are Ganesh Kadam. So we are a civil engineering company. So ours is not based onto the lowest price. It's not a bid. Ours is based on the qualifications. So as a small business, if there is any RFP or RFQ or statement of qualifications are there, so they select based on the qualifications. So I'm submitting to the same contract where like large multi-billion or multi-million dollar companies are submitting. So I don't have that many marketing things or that many qualifications to compete with those businesses. So I'm in the same pot competing with the large businesses for those because it's based on the qualifications.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, usually for professionals, they don't have to qualify, they just have to, show that they've got the experience usually, and then they vent from there. But he's right, you don't have to have a certain bonding or stuff like this. You just gotta have the education and that you're qualified to do that project. That's usually most of them. So he's right as far as that goes. Just like an attorney. Attorneys don't bid projects. Usually they just go in and negotiate on their experience. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you again for joining us, sir. Is there anybody else wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 71? Seeing none in Carson City or Las Vegas, BPS, is there anybody wishing to join us over the phone?
If you would like to testify in support of SB 71, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Caller, you are unmuted. Please continue.
Hello, am I live now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you, members of the committee. My name is Wani Romero. I'm the CEO of Mothership Coffee and a commissioner on the Nevada Commission on Minority Affairs. I apologize for not being there today. She is correct, I am in the process of giving birth, but the contractions are mild. I'm honored to be here today to express my strong support for SB 71, a bill that prioritizes Nevada's local businesses and ensures our taxpayer dollars remain within the state, fueling our economy and creating jobs for all. As a small business owner, I've spent years building a company that not only serves our community, but also hires locally, sources locally, and reinvests locally. Yet time and again, I've seen state and local contracts awarded to out-of-state companies, businesses with no real stake in our state's long-term success. This bill isn't just about procurement reform, it's about protecting Nevada's economy and ensuring that the businesses that contribute to our communities get a fair shot at success. Right now, millions of dollars in government contracts are being awarded to out-of-state vendors, companies that do not employ Nevadans, do not support our local economy, and do not contribute to our communities. At the same time, small businesses across Nevada struggle to access these same opportunities. Many don't have the resources, guidance, or connections to navigate the complex procurement process. As a result, they lose out on contracts that could sustain and grow their businesses. SB 71 provides a strategic common sense solution to ensure Nevada businesses can compete fairly for state contracts. This isn't just about keeping government spending in check. It's about building a more self-sustaining, resilient Nevada economy that benefits all of us. I urge the community to support SB 71 and take a stand for Nevada First policies that strengthen our community, support our businesses, and create lasting economic opportunities. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for joining us. Next caller in support of Senate Bill 71.
Hello, Senators. I'm Jim Haining. I'm the subject matter expert. I'm a former chair of the Regional Business Development Advisory Council here in Clark County, and have been very involved with that for the past almost 15 years, 17 years. Additionally, I'm the chair of the Nevada Public Purchasing Study Commission. And I would like to provide my support for this bill. It's not changing any of our purchasing statutes, 332, 333, or 338. What we are currently doing at RBDAC, the Regional Business Development Council, is doing training on how to do business with government agencies. We've been working on that. We hold an annual event that allows businesses to come and meet directly with the purchasing professionals to learn how to do business with each of the agencies. Additionally, we do reporting biannually, and we've been doing this for over 20 years to show what our total spend is and what all of our diverse spend is, with all the various diverse categories of suppliers out. And it is significant. This report is sent in every other year for all the entities here in Clark County. What this bill will do is expand it so that the entities in Washoe County and the state of Nevada purchasing will also be providing similar reporting that we have been doing. And it will show that we do a lot of business. Well, it already shows we do a lot of business with local and minority, diverse, veteran-owned companies today. So I'm in support of this bill, and thank you for your consideration. And I'll answer any questions if you have them.
And thank you for joining us. We do have a few questions. We'll start with our Vice Chair.
Mr. Haining, thank you very much for being here. A couple of questions I had, and I just wanted to follow up. The new language on page 6, it is section 11. It is sub D and E. It's subparagraph 2D and E. The tracking of the amount and percentage of purchasing expenditures paid by the public entity to businesses that have a physical location, employees within the state, the amount, then it's E, the amount and percentage of purchasing expenditures paid by the public entity to businesses that do not have a physical location and employees within this state. I'm looking at the repealed language on the RBDAC, the Regional Business Development Advisory Council of Clark County. I don't see a metric like that in the sections 11 to 20. Is that something that RBDAC of Clark County currently tracks as to how much money is being sent to out-of-state businesses versus in-state? And if not, do you have an idea how much that is? And I wonder what the intent was to now track it with this Nevada, this new entity, the Nevada Diverse Business Advisory Council. I wonder if you could comment about that.
Okay, just clarification, it's not going to be a new entity. We're just expanding what we're doing in Clark County into the rest of the state, into the larger county. And this reporting we're doing, you know, we do a lot of business with out-of-state companies. So what we're doing, we're reporting so that you can see our total spend, and then we break it up. We stratify that spend across all the diverse categories as well as the out-of-state category. And our spend with non-diverse companies, because there's a ton of companies, Nevada companies we do business with that are not diverse. But we want you to see all the spend, stratify it in such a way that it makes sense, where you can see how much we're spending in all the categories: diverse, local, out-of-state, non-diverse. And we're doing that reporting today. We just want to expand it. That report sent into the LCB, the Legislative Council Bureau, every other year. We just sent it in November for the past 2 fiscal years.
Thank you, Mr. Henning. And Chair, may I have a brief follow-up?
Please do.
Thank you. So then, even though the language in the repealed sections of the bill, sections 11 to 20 of the Regional Business Development Advisory Council of Clark County Act, don't mandate that tracking of the money the public entity spends with in-state firms versus out-of-state firms, that's a metric that's already, you are tracking anyway, and that's being reported to LCB?
For the record, Jim Hanning, yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. And then
we're already tracking all that stuff.
great. I'm glad to hear that. That's important information. I'm glad that that's being tracked, even though it's not required currently by that text in the statutes. One more brief follow-up, Mr. Chair.
Please do.
What was the rationale, if you know the answer, to the creation of this Nevada Diverse Business Advisory Council, as opposed to maybe trying to shore up the Regional Business Development Advisory Council? I guess that's, maybe I'm misunderstanding things, but I just wonder why create this other entity versus not shoring up that entity. If you could just explain that.
Okay, Jim Hanning for the record. There's no need to shore up the Regional Business Development Advisory Council. It's in Clark County. We're already running, it works well. It's just expanding it to the other large counties in Nevada and just changing the name from the Regional Business Development Advisory Council to the Nevada Business Development Advisory Council. And it's now going to include the state of Nevada purchasing and the Washoe County entity.
Thank you. And Chair, I know you've been very, very indulgent to me. Thank you. One brief follow-up. The language in sections 1 and 2 about the posting of potential contracts on the internet website, procedures by which a person may request notice of solicitations or other methods of obtaining contracts. You know, the the testimony we had earlier by the gentleman, the civil engineer, and his firm regarding interest in contracts and difficulties finding contracts. You know, I certainly like the idea that these potential contracts will be posted on the website. This will not take away any publishing in newspapers, though. Is that accurate to say? I don't see that in the bill, but I just want to make sure that this isn't meant to supplant publishing in the newspaper of those potential contracts.
Jim Hanning for the record. No, this will not supplant the publishing in the newspapers. And by the way, there are 30 entities in the state of Nevada that use a single system to publish all of our formal solicitations. It's called the Nevada Government e-Marketplace. Most of the entities in the state use it, and it's a single stop shop for everybody to see all the formal bids, RFPs, and other solicitations that we do in the state of Nevada. And that will continue.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. Just last session, there was there was some legislation to do away with, publishing these solicitations for bids in the certain newspapers, and that's something that does worry me. Just I think it's important, as much broadcasting of these opportunities as possible. And then, do you happen to have any of the data right now, going back to Section 11, Sub 2 D and E, as to how much public entities spend with in-state entities versus out-of-state entities, or is that something we'd need to try to either get from LCB or get at a later date?
I could try to pull it up on my computer right now. It is significant. And that report does go to the LCB every year, or every other year. I'm not finding it immediately on my computer. So,
Chair, with your permission,
I don't have that at this exact moment.
Mr. Henning, would it be okay with the chair's permission? Could you email that report to the chair and to the committee members? I'd sure be interested in looking at it if that's okay with you, Chair.
Yes, please send that over and we'll make sure the whole committee gets it.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Henning. No further questions.
Senator Daly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just trying to get my head around it, I guess, like my friend from Elko. I've seen some of these programs, and you said that there's one central location where 30 entities are putting up their bids and all that kind of stuff. So it seems to me there's already pretty equal access ability for people to get there. Isn't there also a liaison, and maybe I'm wrong, or someone with at least state purchasing? I know local purchasing is going to be each individual government, where people can go and ask questions and say, what do I need to know? How do I do the procurements? But it seems to me if you're in business, you should be able to have the wherewithal to do some of that stuff yourself, but people need help. But isn't there already a process for people to get some of that information and help?
For the record, Jim Haining. So we have an event in Las Vegas in the fall every year called the Committed to Our Business Community event. And it is free. Anyone can come to it.
Does the state purchasing and local government purchasing entities have these process and procedures in place? I know what you guys do. Is it already happening at the purchasing entities?
Yes. Well, I can't speak for every entity. I can speak for, and I'm not supposed to speak for my entity and tell you who I work with, but yes, we do. We have.
Understood. So
we built a brochure called How to Do Business with Us that tells them what they need to do, where they can find opportunities, and the RBDAC Council right now, we are working to develop a whole series of videos, short videos on how to do business with government entities, what to do, where to go look for them, what we require, how to complete your bids, how to do RFPs. We're working on that right now. Hopefully in the next several months, we'll have some of those done and we'll be able to start posting them on our website.
Okay, so a separate question. So I think you answered that. So the fact is the purchasing agencies, most of them throughout the state are already doing the outreach to all businesses, including diverse businesses, small businesses of all stripes, to try to give them the opportunity, equal opportunity, same as everybody else, without discrimination, to bid on these projects. So that outreach is already happening at the purchasing agency level. So in section 11, and I'm sure I don't know the corresponding 11 or section in your proposed deleted program, but I'm sure you were doing the same thing. So it says that you're charged with, or you're supposed to, let me get to section 11. The council shall recommend policies, programs, and procedures to encourage and promote the use of diverse businesses in the area of purchasing by public entities in this state. So what type of recommendations, policies, programs, procedures to encourage and promote, what have you recommended? What have the recommendations been, if this has been in existence since 2003, so a long time, 20 years? What type of stuff have you recommended, and what additional things do you think you need to recommend that you haven't already done?
For the record, Jim Haney. One of the things we did is we started about 10 years ago, maybe a little longer, this event, Committed to Your Business Community event. And we are constantly working on ways to better refine our reporting and ways to train businesses of all types on how to do business with public entities, how to understand the public procurement process. Because it can be a little on the complex side for someone coming in fresh. Additionally, there's another council out there that all of us belong to, called the Nevada Public Purchasing Study Commission, and it is in NRS 332. And that's doing pretty much the same thing on recommending policies, programs, and procedures, but that entity doesn't have the mandate to do the reporting. So it's a little bit duplicative there. Because, you know, we got the same thing. And one of the problems with this commission and council is we recommend things, but it never goes anywhere because we have never been given the opportunity to have a BDR, to put in something so that we could put in a bill to recommend changes. We send in our recommendations to the LCB, but we've never been able to get any sponsors to help back it up because there's a few changes we would like to make to the statute, but we don't have the opportunity. We've requested it 2 or 3 years ago, 2 sessions ago, and we were shut down. So we just work internally and do the best we can.
Understood, and I'm familiar with the Purchasing Commission and, or whatever, I forget the name, in 332, and I think I remember the request for a bill draft, and you can probably count me in the slot that helped to kill it, but nevertheless, on that. So I'm just trying to say, so what specifically were the recommendations to encourage and promote diverse businesses? You just told me you invite all of them, which is good. I'm glad you don't just say, well, you're not the right kind of business, so we're not going to talk to you. I'm just saying a lot of this stuff is duplicated. It's already there. You have this program in Clark County. You know, if it's working for you, you know, God bless. I just not seeing the use to have it go statewide and create another report that, you know, we don't need, in my view. Anyway, that's all my questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Members, any additional questions?
I just have
Vice Chair, please.
Thank you for your indulgence, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Hanning, for providing all this really valuable information. Senator Daley asked you some questions, and you mentioned some of these events that try to connect small businesses with these opportunities from different public entities. Just wondered, in your experience, do you know what kind of attendance there's been in terms of these events? Have there been breakout sessions where folks can talk about, you know, maybe improving their skills of their business to try to qualify for some of these contracts? I just wonder if you could tell us a little bit about these events and attendance and how they work, what happens.
Sure. Jim Hanning for the record. The Committed to Our Business Community event, the last couple years, we've had about 200-300 people attend with about 70 entities, the purchasing departments, as well as banks and other resources that these businesses could reach and need to further expand their capability. Since COVID happened, so 5 years ago, we missed a year or two of having this event. Prior to that, we would have some breakout sessions, but they were extremely poorly attended. You'd have this session, you'd have a panel, and maybe 3 people would show up to it. So we stopped doing the breakouts, and now we just have the event where the people can go around, talk to all the resource entities, talk to the purchasing department to learn how to do business. And some of the entities have really good handouts that explain how to do business with them. Others will just sit and talk to you. So we're working very hard to come up, like I said, with some handouts and some videos that will help businesses learn how to do business and understand the public procurement process.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. And just if I may have one follow-up. The 200 or 300 people who attend this committed to our business event, how are they invited? Are they people who've already had government contracts, or are they people can apply on the website to get that invitation? How do people get informed about this event?
We push it out through the Nevada government e-marketplace that has 26,000 suppliers, or 26,000 plus suppliers registered there. We tell them about it. It's a free event. And we also, various entities will send it out. We also have email lists of people who've attended in the past. It gets emailed out. So it's basically through emails, through a variety of different methods to invite people.
Thank you very much for that answer. Thank you, Chair.
Members, any additional questions? Senator Ellison, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I got into section 7 down, but that section I just didn't understand. Does this bill say you are going to go to Lovelock, Hawthorne, Pahrump, wherever? And with this bill, it says that the 51% owned by minority, does that give them precedence on a project and bid?
For the record, Jim Haining, there is nothing currently in any of our statutes that gives diverse businesses a preference in the procurement process.
Okay, that was one of the questions I had.
We just have these definitions in here for reporting purposes, so that we can put the information about these suppliers into our ERP systems, so that we can then report on the spend for each of those suppliers based on the diverse categories and non-diverse categories.
Okay, thank you. That clarifies a lot. Thank you.
All right, members, any additional questions? Seeing none, thank you for joining us. And I'm sure Senator Orenshaw and Senator Daly will likely be reaching out and continue some of the conversation offline, and maybe see if there's some places that we can work together on this bill. But thank you for joining us again. BPS, thank you. I'm sorry. Please continue. I cut you off.
I just said thank you.
Oh, understood. Thank you for joining us again, sir. And thank you for your time. BPS, next caller in support of Senate Bill 71.
Chair, you have no more callers wishing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite those wishing to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 71. If you could please come forward. I don't see anybody in Las Vegas, but I do see some folk here in Carson City. Whoever wishes to go first. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, Miranda Hoover with 3C House, representing NECA, the National Electrical Contractors Association Reno Division. We believe in having a very diverse business environment in our state is extremely important. We appreciate the testimony provided, as it has provided some clarification. However, we're not sure what problem this bill seeks to solve. Our specific concern is with Section 11.1, which, similar to Senator Ellison's question about preference, so we would request an amendment to clarify this. We believe in equity and fair consideration for all qualified parties. That includes both those who are classified as diverse and those who are not. This section reads as public entities should be encouraged to give preferential treatment to entities whose owners are classified as diverse instead of choosing the most qualified company who submitted the best proposal, regardless of diversity classification. We're strong advocates for equity for all businesses over preferential treatment to a few, as it says. I will end by saying I've not yet had the opportunity to talk with the bill sponsor, but looking forward to follow-up conversations with them, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for joining us. Please.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. For the record, David Cherry, Government Affairs Manager for the City of Henderson. Our concern with the bill is very specific, and it has to do with Section 11.2A, which would require public entities like a city to deliver a written report to the council that includes the number of persons employed by the public entity disaggregated by the categories of diverse persons, which the bill defines as including information on ethnicity, gender, and sexual orientation. It is unclear that we would have the ability as a public entity not to provide this information, but we also have a concern that we cannot require an employee to provide us with information related to their ethnicity, gender identity, or sexual orientation. So what we would ask is that there should be some language in the bill that would say something along the lines of, to the extent that this information is volunteered by an employee of a public entity, or similar wording that recognizes that limit on our ability to fully satisfy the requirement that the bill places on a public employer covered under SB 71. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Is there anybody else wishing to testify in opposition? Seeing none in Carson City or Las Vegas, BPS, do we have anybody wishing to join us over the phone? Opposition to Senate Bill 71.
If you would like to testify in opposition of SB 71, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, you have no callers wishing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you. And at this time, we'll stay on the phone lines. Anybody wishing to testify in the neutral position to Senate Bill 71?
If you would like to testify neutral on SB 71, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, you have no callers wishing to be neutral at this time.
Thank you. We'll go to Carson City and Las Vegas. We do have somebody here in Carson City. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair Flores, Vice Chair Orenshaw, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Jennifer Berthiaume. That's Berthiaume, Government Affairs Manager at the Nevada Association of Counties, or NACO, whose members represent all 17 counties. NACO is neutral on SB 71, as an association of counties is named on the Nevada Diverse Business Advisory Council. We are prepared to serve on this council if invited, as local government perspective and engagement is important to our members. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Anybody else wishing to testify in the neutral position? Seeing none. Any closing remarks you may have?
Gabriela White, for the record, I just wanted to clarify quickly, just for follow-up, Senator Orenshaw, you wanted clarification on section 15, 11 through 20. And there's a few more that I'll mention.
Chair, just a quick question. So section 1 of the bill regarding the posting on the internet website, that's a clarification regarding the deleted sections?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And then I just wanted to make sure that I will follow up with the questions that were asked, along with the reporting that Jim Haining said that he does biannually, and make sure that I get those questions within probably by next week, if that's okay for the committee. Okay. Other than that, I thank you so much, Chair and Vice Chair and members of the committee for your time and for listening to me. Thank you so much.
And
That's the Nevada Commission on Minority Affairs.
We appreciate you stepping in. I know that this was not something that you were directly spearheading, but you stepped into the spotlight when called upon, and we appreciate you doing that.
I appreciate everyone, Gabriela White for the record, I appreciate everyone's patience and no one came at me too challenging, so thank you.
Thank you again. With that, we'll go ahead and close out the hearing on Senate Bill 71. Members, as you all know, it is BDR introduction season. We do have a committee BDR, which is BDR 23-1031, which revises provisions relating to public employment. I'd like to entertain a motion at this time. Just as a reminder for us to, we are not moving to do anything other than ensuring that the bill gets referred so that we can have it go to the correct committee and be vetted as we always do. Vice Chair.
I move introduction, Mr. Chair.
I
Thank you.
second.
Thank you. Vice Chair has moved for the introduction of BDR 23-1031. Senator Krasner has seconded that motion. Members, any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Lastly, on the agenda, members, we have public comment. Is there anybody in the gallery, Las Vegas or Carson City, wishing to join us for public comment? Seeing none. BPS, do we have anybody wishing to join us for public comment over the phone?
If you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, you have no one wishing to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you. As a reminder, we will not be meeting this Friday. Hopefully, everybody can get home safe. We will be back in the committee room on Monday and Wednesday. I will preemptively let the team know that I suspect that we will be having long hearings both Monday and Wednesday. But we'll be stacking Monday and Wednesdays intentionally in an effort to try to avoid having Friday meetings, particularly because one of our senators has to drive anywhere between 5 and 8 hours on Friday right after committee. So to the extent possible, I'm going to try to avoid that, but that may mean that we're going to have to be here longer on Mondays and Wednesdays in the interest of achieving that objective. So if you start seeing longer agendas, just understand that we're trying to avoid Fridays. With that, members, appreciate everybody. This meeting's adjourned.